Today we're talking about, well, basically responsibility. We're looking at who owns what when it comes to emissions and carbon that is released into the atmosphere. We're looking at the three scopes of the greenhouse gas protocol. In the past, companies really cared about what happened within those four walls. It was a narrow view, a simple view. But the reality is that the atmosphere doesn't really care who signs on the check or who drove the car. It just really cares how much gases were released and the temperature and the increase in global warming. To try and allocate responsibility and control, the greenhouse gas protocol defined the three scopes of emissions. This is important so things don't go unchecked. And if we know who owns what, well, we can measure, we can track, and we can improve. I like to call them the DNA of your carbon footprint measurement. So let's dive into the three fundamental scopes of the greenhouse gas protocol. First, we have scope 1, what is called direct emissions. And you have to pay close attention here because auditors, well, this will be the first place that they check. Within scope 1, we have stationary combustion. Think about fuel that you burn inside something that does not move, a factory or a boiler in a building. Then we have mobile combustion, and this also includes the tailpipe release and the fuel that you're burning inside cars that your company might own. You might be a construction company that owns trucks and machinery, or logistics companies. Well, it all goes here under scope 1. And then we have a tricky one, fugitive emissions. These are things that are not supposed to happen, but they happen all the time, like leaks in gas and refrigerants in a big building. That's scope 1. You own the source, the building, you own the gases, and you own the data. Then we have scope 2, which is related to the energy that we buy. Because the reality, if we let out everything that we buy in terms of energy and only look at the fuel, we'll be missing a lot of things. Most businesses don't own cars or have factories, so what happens to all of those? Well, the energy that you buy comes under scope 2. Whether it's electricity, cooling, or steam, they all fall under this bucket. It's important to notice that there's a lot of purchasing decisions here. What kind of energy retailer do you have? Where do you locate your offices? They all contribute to how intense those emissions are. Finally, we have scope 3, or the everything else category. This is all the indirect emissions that happen upstream and downstream of your business. Now, let's not get complicated. This is all about things that you buy or that you might not operate, but are related and are needed to make your business happen. Think about logistics of postage, or how things get in and out of your warehouse, or the cloud services that you need to run your computers. All of that is included under scope 3. Scope 3 includes your employee commute, includes your flights, and even how your employees work from home. So there's a lot of data here, and it takes a while to get all of these things together. Next, we're going into the actual maths of calculating this, and what files, what numbers do you actually need to run these calculations, and what I think are really simple maths behind looking at a file, looking at a spreadsheet, and getting the number of emissions and CO2 into the atmosphere.